math TEAS practice walkthrough. I do have my notes in the description of this video. You can either message me on Instagram or you can email me and I will get back to you really quickly. It is 7 pages of English and reading, 20 pages of math, and within those 20 pages you have equations to know, tips on how to work out word problems step by step, and there are probably about 60 plus practice questions. I did get a 100. Like I said, I want to help you out because it was a goal of mine to finally pass my TEAS, and I finally did it. So now I just want to help everybody else that's struggling too. I know math can be super tricky. My practice questions that you purchase from my notes, I numbered all of the steps, so everything's pretty easy to figure out. If you don't understand math, I think that those notes will help for sure, which will give you a really good idea on what's on the math section. And then for my science, I have 20 pages of science. I have systems to know, chemistry, biology, mainly anatomy, but I do have all of those. If you have any questions, like I said, you can message me on my Instagram or email me. First thing that I do is I break down every single question. Even if it's not necessary, I break it down, and I think that's probably why I did so well on the test, because I think I just did really extra on it. 5 less than a number, okay, is greater than 20. So the whole question asks, which of the following correctly represents phrase 5 less than a number is greater than 20? Okay, so I know that this is x is a number, is less than 5, right? So we know greater than is this, and less than is then 20. So then, since we broke it down, we can just bring it down. So we have 5 less than a number, which is basically just x minus 5, is greater than 20. This is saying plus 20. That's not it. And this is this has a less than, so that's definitely not it. Number 30. Which lab cedar weighs 2 pounds and 5 ounces? Which of the following is the scale weight in ounces? Okay, so we want to look for ounces. Well, we can go ahead and write that the first thing we should know is 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. Now that's going to come in handy because, as you can see, all these answer choices are in ounces. So we already have 5 ounces, so we don't need to convert that. We'll need to convert is this 2 pounds. 2 pounds equals X ounces. And we're trying to find ounces as these answer choices are in ounces. So we're going to do 2 pounds times 16 ounces. So since 1 is to 16, we're just going to multiply that by 2. So that's going to equal 32 ounces. So since we already have 5 ounces, we're just going to add that 32 to the 5. So 32 ounces plus 5 ounces equals 37 ounces. Well, D will be our answer. Alright, try to color organize everything. I hope that helps. Which of the following correctly rounds the value below to the thousandths place? So that's a really good thing to know before you get to the test, is your hundreds, tens, thousands. So first thing I'm going to do is, it's really important to already be aware of that before you start your test, because then you're just going to get stressed out trying to figure that out. So let's go ahead and write the whole number down. So you have 6, 5, 2, 1. So it is important to know that the ones place is always the left of the decimal. So it's always going to be right here. So this is a ones place. And then it's asking for 1,000. So tenths, hundredths, and then here is your thousandths. Okay, so since we're rounding here, we're going to look at what's been behind that, and since it's a 7, we're always going to round up. If it's a 5 or above, we're going to round up. Okay, so since this is a 7, we're just going to round up. Okay, so since we're rounding up, that 4 is going to go to a 5. So that's going to equal 6, 5, 2, 1, and 9, 65. Looks like that's the only one that's ending in thousands, and then that is just straight up wrong. So there's our answer. Alright, let's go to number 32. Okay, so pudding recipe for 100 people calls for 8 cups of sugar. Each bag of sugar contains 6 cups. How many bags of sugar will be needed to make this recipe for 600 people? Alright, so they got a lot of people making pudding for. Alright, so first thing to know is anytime you have an equation like this that you'll need to figure out for 600 people, you're going to cross, multiply, and divide. Now, let me remind you, my notes that you purchased are a lot cleaner than this because I wasn't talking and making a video. So I'm trying to make it quick so I don't have a super long video that you have to watch. Alright, so let's go ahead and break this down like always. So first you know 100 people calls for 8 cups of sugar. So let's go ahead and write that down in equation form. 100 people is 8 cups of sugar. Okay? Each bag of sugar contains 6 cups. How many bags of sugar will be needed for this recipe for 600 people? So what we're trying to figure out is 600 people. And we have the information for 100 people. So we're going to try to figure out how many cups. Okay, so if you don't know how to cross multiply, the first thing you're going to do is cross multiply. And you have 600 people times 8. And that is going to equal 4,800. So we're going to take that 4,800 and we're going to divide it by this 100 people. You're going to get 48. Okay, so up here it gives you that each bag of sugar contains 6 cups. So you're going to take that 48 and divide it by 6 because it's asking you how many bags, and here it tells you how many bags for 6 cups. 48, and you're going to divide it by 6 because you're trying to figure out how many bags. That's going to leave you with 8 bags. And you can always message me if you still don't understand, okay? I know I'm going through it pretty quick, but I hope it's being at least the slightest bit helpful. Okay, so let's go to number 33. 12% of 68. So first thing you need to know is the formula to find this. Part over whole. And percent over 100. So I'm going to break it down for you. So you're trying to find 12% of 68. So let me show you how this formula kind of works. So anytime it gives you a percent like that, see the percent? You're just putting it where the percent is on the formula. Okay? Always, always, always. So let's put our 2 formulas down. So since it gave me 12%, you just put it in the percent place. So 12% is going to go here. And then this 100 is always there. Always, always, always. That is always 100. Okay? So it looks like you're trying to find a percent, a part of 68. This is whole number. You're trying to find 12% of 68. So 68 is the whole number, and you're trying to find the part. So 68 is the whole number. So I'm going to put it in the whole place. And since I'm trying to find only a part, I'm not trying to find 100%. That would be all of it. I'm trying to find just a part of it. So this is what I'm looking for. That's going to be what I'm looking for. So cross, multiply, and divide. I just want you to see where I'm pulling the numbers from so you don't get confused. Do is cross multiply, just like we did in that first one. So we're going to take the 68 and times it by 12. And that's going to give us 816. Okay, so now we're going to take that 816 and we're going to divide it by this 100. And that part of the equation is going to be 8.16.
Okay, so 8.16 is 12% of 68.
I hope I broke that part over whole equation down for you. Like I said, if it still doesn't make sense to you, please message me because I want you to understand this because it is a big part of the test. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to number 34. First thing, like I said, always break it down. So always break it down and always write it out. So first thing I'm just going to do is write it out. So it's always important to know that you're always trying to get the x alone, okay? But this is really important to know going into an equation like this. Okay, so since I'm trying to get this number alone, I want to find out what k equals. So I need this alone because somehow this k is going to equal this negative 54. Okay, so what I do to one side, I always have to do to both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this negative 9. So since it's multiplying, I'm going to divide it to get rid of it. Negative 9. And then if I do it to this side, I'm going to have to do it to this side. So divided by negative 9. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that out. I don't need that anymore. I zeroed it out. So now my new equation is k minus 17 equals 6. Because negative 54 divided by negative 9 equals 6. Okay? So then, like I said, I'm trying to get this k alone. So what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to plus 17 since it's subtracting. And then plus 17 on this side. So that did zero out. So that 17 no longer exists. And 6 plus 17 equals 23. So looks like k equals 23. And one thing I really like to do is just double check my work. So I can even just go in here and rewrite the equation and see if that 23 does work in there. This is one thing I like to do, especially if I have extra time. So one thing you can do is just go in there and do 23 minus 17, just 6. And times that by negative 9. So negative 9 times 6 equals negative 54. Which is perfect because it just shows that they're equal. That I did do the math right. That's one thing you should always do. Just go back and check your work. Plug in the answer that you got. Since I got 23. And I just wanted to check my work and make sure it was 23. Just plug it in that actual equation and see if that works. Let's go ahead and jump over to number 19. Y'all just comment down below what you want to see next. So first thing to know for equations like this is always, I cannot stress that enough, use order of operations. You can't just go in here and randomly work out the problem. You always have to use order of operations. and that is PEMDAS. I'm sure you've heard of it before in school. It's just something easy to help you remember which order goes in what. So always, like I said, write everything out. You know, even if you don't think it's necessary, I promise it'll help you in the long run so you don't make any dumb mistakes. Okay, so I see parentheses is first in the PEMDAS, so I'm going to look down and I see parentheses here. So all that means is you just work that out first. So 5 plus 8, so 13. And then we're done with that, and I'm just going to write the equation out as follows. Okay, so after that, I go over and I see E, which is exponents. Don't see any exponents, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that. What's next? I see multiplication. I do see a multiplication problem, so I'm going to go ahead and go down to multiplication. See times, which is 13 times 3 divided by 5, which is just a fraction. But I'm going to go ahead and work out that fraction because I hate looking at fractions. That's just me, though. So that 3 out of 5 fraction is just 0.6. So instead of writing 3 over 5, I'm going to write 0.6. So 13 times 0.6 plus 2. And 13 times 0.6 is 7.8. Okay? And then, like I said, I write as follows. 2. So 7.8 plus 2. Let's see what's next. I don't have any division, so I'm skipping that. Addition. I do have an addition problem, which looks like the last problem. So we're going to do 7.8 plus 2 is 9.8. Now this is a really, really, really important thing to know. If you don't know it, put it in your head and keep it there because this will come in handy for your test. I promise that. So this one, let's see. Which of the following is equivalent to 0.0009? So first thing I always do is, of course, write it out. 0.0009. Now one thing for tests that you should know is converting decimal to percent. You're always going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Now in my notes, of course, they're going to look a lot nicer than this as you saw, but for video purposes, I'm going to be shorthanding a lot of things. So I'm going to go ahead and move 2, 1, 2, add that decimal, add that percent, and as you can see, 1, 2. So that new number is going to be 0.09%. And we have that right here. Okay, number 16. Now this one you do have to pay attention to because I think that they made this question to trick you. So the question says, a father is planning a birthday party for his son. He is expecting a total attendance of 7 adults, 13 children. Food will cost $11 for each adult, $5 for each children. He will also need to spend $2 each child for party favors. Which of the following is the total cost of the birthday party? There are 7 adults, and for each adult there's $11. Alrighty, then we're going to go ahead and skip over to 13 children. Or each child, you not only have $5 for food, but you also have $7 for party favors. So we're going to go ahead and bring that 7 adults down. We're just going to break it down. That is the first thing you should do. Number 1, break down, which is kind of what we did above. So 7 adults, each at $11. So you're going to time that 7 by 11 for food, which is giving you a total of $77. Okay, so he's going to spend $77 on all the adults for the party. Now, there are 13 children. I'm just going to write child. And there is $5 for food plus the $2 of party favors, giving a total of $7 per child, times each child, which is 13. So $7 per 13 children are going to be a total of $91. So, of course, we're going to add the total cost is $77 for each adult plus $91 for each child. It's going to be a total of $168. And I think they could confuse you easily by putting that 2 and 5 separately, because that's going to make 7. Which is not very hard, but of course, if you don't break it down and you're just rushing through it, say you only see the $5 and the $11, you're not going to add that $2. So I have a feeling that's what they're trying to do there. But if you break it down, you will have no problem with finding the correct answer. Okay, and now again, my notes are not this sloppy. I promise. Alrighty, let's see the next question. Simplify the expression below. Okay, so anytime you see a question like this, you're going to want to use your order of operations. And if you don't know what that is, there's a little thing to remember it by PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, which is, the little number above the number, multiplication, division, addition, and last but not least, subtraction. Alrighty, so as always, I'm going to take that number and bring it down. Alrighty, so the first thing on our list is going to be parentheses, the P. So let's see, we do have a pair of parentheses, which is just 9 minus 6. So we're going to rewrite as always, 4 plus 9 minus 6 is 3 plus 13. Alrighty, now got our parentheses done. We're going to go ahead and go to exponents. There are no exponents in here, so we're going to go ahead and cross that out. Now we do have multiplication, so let's go ahead and take care of that multiplication. 7 times 4 is 28. So rewrite 28 plus 3 plus 13. Got our multiplication done. Now we do not have any division in this question, so we're going to cross division out. We do have 2 additions, 1 and 2. So we're going to do 28 plus 3 plus 13. It's going to give us a total of 44. And there's my answer right there. So anytime you see a question with a bunch of signs in it and you're like, where do I even begin? Just always use this order of operations. Now, we are trying to find the missing side of a triangle. Now, one thing you should know for a formula to find the missing side of a triangle, oh my gosh, I cannot spell, formula is going to be a square plus b square equals c square. So we have our a side, it's going to be 14. We have our b side, which is going to be 8. And our missing c side, which is what we're looking for. Alright, so let's go ahead and, like I say, fill in those blanks. So we have 14 square plus 8 square is going to equal c square. So we'll go ahead and type in the calculator 14 square, which is 196. 8 squared typed in the calculator is 64. And 196 plus 64 is 260. So since that is c squared, of course, we always can't leave it like that because it's squared. We need to find out what that single number is that's going to be on this side. So c squared, we're going to have to square root it. So put that 260 square root in the calculator, and you're going to get 16.2. Now that seems a lot more like it because obviously you're not going to have a side of a triangle that's 14. You're not going to have a side that's 8 and then go to 260. So obviously you're going to have to find out what that square root is. And you have 16.2. I'm sorry, not 16.2, 16.12. And there's our answer. If Sarah can read 15 pages in 10 minutes. So that is our first bit of information. 15 pages in 10 minutes. How long will it take her to read 45 pages? So that is our question. So we need to find out how long it's going to take her to read 45 pages. We have the information of how long it's going to take her to read 15 pages, and that is 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and write that down. 10 minutes for 15 pages. So first thing we need to do, find out how long one page is going to take. So the way we do that is we're going to take that 10 and divide it by 15. And we have that from there and that from there. So that 10 divided by 15 is going to be 0.6667, and it goes on and on. So of course that is for one page. Since one page took 0.6667, let's find out how long it's going to take for 45 pages. And of course that 45 came from up here, and that 0.667 came from right here. That times 45, 30. So it took her 30 minutes to read 45 pages. I don't read, so I don't know if that's normal. I feel like it is, though. So this is something you'll definitely see if you don't see it on TEAS. I believe I had a couple questions like this. You will definitely see it in nursing school. So it is really good to go ahead and get familiar with it. So one thing that really helped me in nursing school, which I'm in my second semester now, is learning this.
King, Henry, died, drinking chocolate milk.
Alrighty, so this is going to stand for kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, and milli. Okay, so I always just break it down. King Henry died drinking chocolate milk. And the center is always going to be your meters, liters, or grams. Meters, liters, or grams. And in my notes, I do have a full-on chart, and I have it written out pretty well, so I think my chart is pretty easy to read. So since we have our liters, let's find out how many milliliters are in liters. So we're at our liters. This is where we're at. We're going to move 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we have 0.5. There's our decimal. And we're going to move 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And just fill in the rest with zeros. So that is going to equal 500 milliliters for 0.5 liters. And there's your answer. Okay, so number 25 says that a customer makes a $400 down payment on television. The television costs $1,570. Which of the following is the number of months it will take to pay off the television with monthly payments of $100? So, if the TV cost $1,500 and you went ahead and made a down payment of $400, that is going to leave you a total of $1,170. Well, if you have that much and you're making monthly payments of $100, you're just simply going to divide what you have left, 170 by 100. That gives you a total of 11.7. Well, obviously you can't pay for 11.7 months, so we're going to go ahead and round that up to 12. So he's going to be paying on this TV for 1 full year, for 12 months. Alrighty, go ahead and move down to question number 26. If the pediatric unit of a hospital has 165 beds, question is asking you how many rooms are there. That's the question, and it's giving you information of each room holds 3 beds. Okay, so if we have 165 beds, well, we know 3 beds fit in each room. We're going to go ahead and divide that. So 165 divided by 3 is 55 rooms. That's why you need to take it slow. And if you don't know the question right off the bat, it is that we get to flag the question and go to it on the end. We don't have to stick around and wait and question ourselves. It's nice that we get to move on to the next question, and maybe when we're a little refreshed later, we get to go back and we understand it a little bit more. Okay, so this question is asking, what is 20% of 45? I mean, this formula is very, very important to know because you'll probably see it a lot on the test. At least I did. So it's a very important formula to know. Part over whole and percent over 100. Okay, now 100 is always going to be there. Now these numbers are the ones that could change, obviously, because we don't know what's in that question. Alright, so as always, we're just going to go ahead and fill in the blank, and this percent right here is going to go, that percent is always going to go there. Anytime you see a percent, that's where it goes. That 100 is always going to be there. Always, always, always. Always a part of the formula. Okay, so part over whole and percent over 100. 45 is the whole number that we're trying to find part of, which is 20%. So part is X. That is going to be, this is going to be the part. So X over 45, because that's the whole number. 45 is a whole number. X is what we're trying to find. And then, like I said, that 20% is going to go over 100. Okay? So there's where that 20% came in. And then, like I said, that 100 is always going to be there. Always, always, always. So let's go ahead and do the math. So we're going to go ahead and multiply 20 and 45. And you're going to get 900. So with that 900, we're going to divide it by 100. So 900 divided by 100. So you're just going to cross multiply and divide. So 900 divided by 100 is 9. And there's your part. 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm going to do one more question. So the question says, put this in order from least to greatest. Now obviously this does not look fun because here you see a fraction, you see a mixed number, you see percent, and a decimal. Oh my gosh, that just looks like a mess. So first thing, let's just go ahead and convert all these. Now I like personally converting it to decimal just because I feel like it's easier to all look at one decimal versus mixed numbers, fractions, and decimals. So before I do anything, I'm going to convert everything to a decimal. So 3/8, 1 5/8, 75%. 0.33 is already a decimal, so we can leave that one obviously. And -1/8. Alrighty, let's go ahead and convert those. So we have 0.375
1 and 625.
Okay, so as you can see, this is much more attractive than the mixed numbers and the fractions and the decimals and the percent. So we're going to go ahead and look at those conversions, and then we'll put them to least to greatest. So I can go ahead and look at it, and obviously I'm going to see that the least is -0.125. So let's go ahead and go up to our answer choices and cross off what I don't see is the least. That's the first thing you can do. And then second, I can see that 0.33 is next. And I can already see that we have a winner, but I'm going to keep on going and just to make sure everything's right. And next is going to be that 0. So 3/8 as it's written, but we know that it's 0.375. And then we're going to go to 75%. And I can see that that's still right. And then last but not least is going to be that 1.625. Alrighty, so that is all right. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and finish there, and this video is getting pretty long, but here is my Instagram if you have any questions. Also, you have my email if you have any questions, if you want to get the notes. I do have a bundle, the TEAS section. I have most of them are written out looking like this with the highlighters, and they're just very well organized notes. And a common question I get is, what did I make overall on the TEAS? I made it 87, and these notes are what I studied. So you can't really expect to not study on this test. Now, I can't say this for everyone, because of course there are people that are gifted enough to make a great score on the test without studying, but that was not me. If you're interested in the notes, or if you have any questions, here's my Instagram and here's my email. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more TEAS videos.